Alright guys, well, I went and got another one of these SNT cars, and this time around I got it directly from the Sniclo, or I don't know how to pronounce this company's name, but their official store. And I decided to get the ones with the goggles because my FPV goggles may or may not be good for this. In my video of my Skyline, the R27, it had really bad video. But I actually used this car somewhere else, like in a shopping mall, and the video was much better there. So it'll be interesting. I think it just has to do with the antennas. So I showed you that box because the previous car from a different seller came in a bubble wrapped bag. But this one, it was in a box, and now that thing is in a box. So you could probably buy this here and give it away as a gift, you know, and feel okay about it. So it's all wrapped in plastic as well, 14 and up. Let's see if there's anything else important on here. Alright, so it's got the specs of the equipment there, the goggles. 4.3 inch screen, 16 by 9, your standard like YouTube kind of ratio. And I think you can actually, it has English and Chinese. You can turn on and off the recording, and you can set the times of recording 3, 5, 10 minutes. There's a Fresnel lens, I think, to probably make it look bigger. So that's the goggles. The car itself, yeah, they're the dimensions if that matters to you. Here are the other body styles. I debate even buying this because this one actually has the camera inside the windshield, and my cat was knocking off the camera when I was driving this around. So you never know. If I like this enough, I might end up buying the van as well. Alright, let's cut this thing open. There's nothing on the bottom. So I got this sky blue colored minivan. I think it's their own design, but I think it looks like a Daihatsu to me, but maybe a Suzuki minivan. Alright, let's see what's going on in here. Ugh, that giant wasteful case. The radio is nicely protected with high quality black foam. There's a little quality inspection sticker. Then there's another layer. And what's going on with this? The goggles must be in here. That's really difficult to get out. Alright, so there's a cardboard layer there for the goggles, and then those are in a bubble. Oh, and there's a jumping ramp. 2 jumping ramps. Alright, so that's it for the box there. The jumping ramps are just vacuum form things, but you know, they're very smooth. They're like packaging plastic. So it's going to be questionable if this car will actually get up on this thing. Well, an easy cure is to just like spray glue some or double-sided tape some sandpaper onto it, and then it'll be grippy like a road. But it's nice that you have those. Oh, they're different sizes too. Look at that. So yeah, you have different size ramps. That's very neat. I'll put those to use. Where are the antennae? Now I do question if the 18650 battery is going to work in this one. Let me get this screen out of here. There's a price, by the way, but it depends. There might be a sale going on. Alright, let's see if this thing works here. And as I mentioned in the last video, don't even bother trying to modify that tab. It'll never go in there. It's the design of it. See, that's as far as this tab will move, because there's a piece of plastic under that stopping it from moving it further. So it'll never go into the opening you see right there. It's nice that they give you the little adapter, and that will charge the car off of this controller. What the heck's going on here? This thing has batteries in it. You saw me open this, right? I have never... That's interesting. My other one didn't come with any batteries in it. But yeah, so that was keeping the thing from draining the batteries. Well, I guess we must. Well, I do want to test it though with the 18650 because I had to modify the last one. Because if you look at this connector, it's like the same. It's actually recessed below this plastic, but if you look at the positive on an 18650, it's like flush. So I don't think it's gonna reach without modification. But let me try it. Maybe I'll be lucky. So there, that's as good as that cover goes. Turn this on. Yeah, see? There's no power. So again, I'm gonna have to modify that. Let's just make sure it's not a dead controller. I'll just put these things back in. Oh yeah, I heard it. I can feel it vibrate. So that's how it tells you the battery's in there. Okay, so yeah, that's just a design flaw. It's really amazing that they would put that out into, for sale, and then claim it'll take an 18650. You basically have to take a something and bend that out more. I used like a hole punch, so you can watch my other video where I did that. But again, this is nice that they have the controller. I mean the control adapter / mini C Type C adapter, and you can just charge a car right off of this. But I think you're gonna drain a bunch of AAA batteries out really fast if you charge the car off of those. That's why I like to use the 18650. I think there's more capacity overall, but I could be wrong. Okay, well at least we know the controller works. That's good. I am very concerned. Where are the antennae? Oh, thankfully it's all in here. Alright, Fresnel lens, you can see there. But the Fresneling's on the inside surface. This is perfectly smooth, this surface. You probably don't want to get your fingerprints all over that though. Alright, so it comes with the antennae. Pop that thing. I'm going to try to swap these onto my other goggles and see if the picture gets better. And then we have this bag here. And we have a little keychain of that van. Wow, this is actually, wait a second, I thought this was just like a piece of rubber, but this seems like a hard piece of some metal or something. Okay. This is actually like a die-cast keychain. It's nice, but I mean, who realistically is going to use something like this? Are you really going to love this product enough that you're going to put this on your car keychain or something? So basically, it's nice, but I had to pay for this, I didn't really want this, so that cost me a few dollars right there. I'm gonna probably put a magnet on the back of it just below my refrigerator. Alright, so this charge cable, oh no, wait, it's not. Oh yeah, it is. I thought it was gonna be a Type C to Type C, but it's a regular USB to Type C, and so you can charge your car off of that. In fact, I should go and do that because my last one wasn't fully charged. So I'm going to complain about it again. Big giant waste of plastic. But interesting, the camera is actually stored in here. The R27, I think it was just in a different box. So some sort of changes are going on. There's some tape here. I also feel like I didn't want to buy this elaborate case. This case is probably at least $5 because it's not just the plastic. It actually has a really nice metal nameplate. See this? That's a pretty thick piece of metal. It's really impressive, but I didn't want to buy this. This is all I wanted. All I wanted was this, like in maybe a piece of foam, right? But now they make you buy all this garbage that's going to just end up in the ocean. Alright, so let's make sure this cable works. I'm going to plug it in over here and make sure I get a good cable. So that's interesting. I'm not sure why RC has an RC sticker. I don't know, maybe that's the channel or something? I don't see a light or any sort of charging light. Let's see if it'll turn on. It will turn on. Maybe it's fully charged. Yeah, I have to assume that's fully charged. Okay. Let's get out all the other accessories and stuff out of the way first. Oh, these are stickers. Okay. Well, again, it's just more stuff that I feel I didn't want to have. But I guess maybe kids would like it. This is a toy after all. I gotta say, the drawings are pretty cool. It's like that that van. Oh, I think they might come out with a Nissan Cube. Oh boy, I like the Nissan Cube. I think they already came out with this truck. It looks like an old Cherokee, but it's quite cartooned. It looks like an FD3S RX-7 might come out. What is this one in here? What is this? Another FD3S. Another FD3S. And that's the Z, which they already have done. I think they already have this truck out, but as the crawler. Yeah, so that... I think they might have this Jeep out as the crawler. So they have like a tiny crawler as well, and that's the R35 they already have. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that they might come out with a Nissan Cube and an RX-7 soon, or someday. Very cool. Hopefully I can just buy the bodies. So if you wanted to actually hook this up to like a television or something, I guess this must be the video out port or port cable. Right, so, or maybe headphones. Well, I don't know. That wouldn't make sense. But there's a headphone jack. There's a micro C, the older micro C USB connector, and then there's an micro SD card slot so you can record the video. You gotta remove these things here and pop the antenna on. So there's a battery indicator, so there must be a built-in battery or something, or do I add it? It feels awfully light, but I don't see a hatch, right? I don't see a battery hatch. I don't see a battery port. So I'm gonna have to assume I can turn this on. Power on button. Yeah, see, this has the old Type C, not Type C, I'm getting all these mixed up, old micro C connector. So I'm going to plug this in to make sure this cable works. I think I might have to charge this thing. But this is the most really weird place to put a charge port. Like, you literally have to, it's strange. It would be better if it was just facing outwards. Look, you got to bend this cable and then stick it in there. Alright, so yeah, there's a red light on here. Let's let that charge a little bit. So while those goggles are charging, I guess I'm going to go and modify this anyways in case you don't watch that other video. So you got to pull this tab up a little bit, and then you got to push this thing out. But there's some teeth trying to stop it from going out, so I use a foam pry tool, and I'm going to push this tooth down here, right in this corner, and there, simple slide out, right? You only have to push one side. Alright, so the way this is situated right now, it has a flat spot, but basically I want to dome that out so it can reach further past the plastic and henceforth touch the 18650 battery. This is just a big block of poster putty, and that way allow the thing to deform. This is a 1/4 inch punch, so it seems to be the right size. Hopefully that domed out, maybe. Let's see. It domed a little bit, but maybe not enough. So I'm gonna do that again. Alright, that's a pretty strong wall up there, so I think I'm good to go now. Alright, don't even worry if it's not flat, because putting it back in the plastic will flatten it out. So, it's pretty soft, you know, this metal. It's really easy to bend. Let me flatten it down a little more. My fingernails are not so strong. There we go. So, that, it might be hard to tell, but you can see a little bit of that metal dome sticking out now. So, where's that 18650? Yep, that's what you got to do. It's not that hard. Just get some sort of round object. You might be able to use a big nail. You might be used to a chopstick, actually. Everyone has chopsticks, right? Just order some Chinese food or something. Actually, you probably don't want to eat Chinese food. I watch a lot of YouTubes on how bad a lot of the fake Chinese food products are, and they can literally kill you. So who knows what they're putting into that stuff when they import foods into other countries. And although the stuff is delicious. Yeah. Okay, so that is that. Looking at this camera here, we have a protective piece of film. Okay. Keep off again. So now I'm going to feel confident being able to charge that car a few times. I think the car only has like a 100 some odd milliamp hour battery, so an 18650, a good one, will have over 2000. So there's a little card in Chinese and in English. It's pretty simple, it seems. Sorry, this little tape is driving me nuts. So we want to link to the car. So you want to turn it on, this little press switch. It's not a slide switch, which is nice. This is going to go through a light sequence for 8 seconds. It's flashing the headlights, it's figuring out what's going on. Alright, so now it's just blinking rapidly. There, you can see in the back tire there. So now turn on the thing, and then this top button is a bind button. Okay, you'll see that flashes, and now the car doesn't flash its headlights anymore. So we are good to go. And then you can set the trim. There's some weird noise going on there. Hold on here. I noticed the foam thing here. It's not fully on my tire. Okay. So if you want to trim it, you know, you can, well, it actually looks pretty straight, but let me just show you. Just press it a few times, and every time you hit a button on this thing, it vibrates. It's got some sort of haptic feedback to tell you that it's doing something. Right, so obviously I probably want to get it back to the way it was. But it's pretty simple. Maybe 10 clicks each way. Okay, so now on the back you have the power minus and the power plus. The minus is just 70% power. The plus, full 100%. And then an on-off switch again. So the car is bound. There's some sort of weird, I think it's a servo, the steering servo. Alright, every now and then it makes a high-pitched noise, but now it's stopped. Something's going on in there. Let's look at this car. Oh, see, that's weird. Why is this now? It flashed its headlights. I don't know why. I didn't touch that switch. Alright, we got some nice, oh, you know what it is? It's my phone camera. It's the same frequency as the LED lights. So when I look at it through my camera screen, it looks like the lights are flashing. I'm sure you're going to see them flashing as well. But when I look at it with my own eyes, these lights are not flashing. It's just the hertz. Unfortunately, mobile phones, I don't know of a way to change the frequency settings of its video recording. So can't do anything about that. Alright, well anyways, we have a nice texture here in the grille. Just black paint here. The 2011 there, I guess that's the model number of this car. A different texture here. And then 3 recesses there. Okay, the windshield, all the windows are just black paint. The mirrors are rigid, so be mindful of that. But they're not sticking out too far. And the base of the mirrors seems pretty strong, but hopefully we'll have to see how they stand up to the test of time. Hopefully now you can actually see the blue metallic paint is really nice. It's very cool. It has the same wheels as the other car I have, the R27, just 5 spokes and they painted black in the middle. This wheel rim is a little bit messy. I don't know what happened there. And then the tires are very grippy. They even have treads. Right? The tire sizes are different, width-wise and height-wise. Alright. This base is actually all plastic. The R27, I think, may have been one of their first model. I think that has like a CNC milled carbon fiber plate, right? Everything else looks like it's in the same spot, but they're just saving money with the plastic. I can understand, it's fine, as long as it doesn't break. It looks like all the gearing is all identical inside of there. Although actually, you see this gearing is all brass. It's metal. This might be plastic again. So they're saving money there. Yeah. You know, this thing isn't a speed demon. I don't think it has enough power to strip the teeth, so I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, this R27, there's a lot more going on as far as the quality of it. Okay. Yeah, the door handles here. It actually has suicide rear doors. That's kind of cool. Right, now the tail lights. So you can actually turn on the lights here, by the way, with this. This is for recording, the second button. The third one is for ambient light. You can change the colors. Orange, purple, blue, green, a light blue, orange, off. Okay, the headlights are on, but you can turn them off. Low beam, well, sadly it look like it's flashing, and then high beam. You can definitely tell a difference. Okay, and off. What I want to see is the brake lights here. So I have high beams on, but nothing's going on in the back. But if I hit the controller, you can see a little bit of red there. So if you let off the throttle, it brakes, and then if you go reverse, actually nothing happens. But if you, that's interesting. Huh, alright, I guess that makes sense. I mean, a real car wouldn't have the brake lights on. So it's basically you just let go either way and the lights turn red there. I'm going to turn the lights off here in this photo booth and we'll see a little bit better. A little blemish there. Oh, the room lights are on, but I think this gives you still a good idea. Wow, the whole body actually lights up. So it's actually better with the ambient light on because the whole thing's glowing red. Let me turn the ambient light on. Oh wait, let me show you the turn signals. So if you steer it, right? So turn signals, but it does the front? No. Just like the R27, there's no front turn signals. But you can kind of see some of the back orange coming in through the front side. Sadly, the whole body is letting a lot of LED lights through. If that bothers you, you'd have to pretty much take the thing apart and spray the underside of the body with like silver paint to block up more of that light out. I'm not so motivated. Alright, let's see. Yeah. Ambient light again. It's cool that the base back here is transparent, so you can really see that light. I guess it's a sky blue car. I'll have the sky blue lights. Alright, let me turn the booth lights on. Alright, so this is what looks like a sunroof, but if you take the sunroof off, and you gotta get a fingertip down in there, there's a magnetic cover here. It's a little piece of metal here, and then 2 magnets in the body. And then it has 4 gold contacts, and that's where the camera is going to attach, and that also has magnets. So it's a really easy system. Just magnetically attaches. Very good. You'll see these red lights. Like right now it's, well, the 4 went away. I guess that just shows that it's getting power. But now the left light is on, and so that's the first channel, which it goes into here. Channel A. There's also channel B, channel C, and channel D. These are the frequencies, because it's a 5.8 gigahertz frequency, so 58, 65, and those other ones. It depends what's going on in your area. You know, you might get a better reception to the goggles if you switch these channels around. And if you want to do that, there's a little dip switch. Alright, maybe it's a press switch. Sorry, it's not a dip switch. So if you press that, so now we're on channel B, C, D, and back to A. And that thing is flush, so it's, even if this crashes, I don't think it's going to change channels on you very easily. That'd be really hard to do. Also, the antenna is going to keep it from, you know, being hit by something. So this is the antenna, in case you haven't picked on it. Don't clip that off. You cut that off, you're going to lose a lot of range. Alright. So going back to the goggles here, you have an elasticated headband. Eventually that's going to wear out, but you can just cut it off and use like a regular nylon webbing to replace that. I'm leaving the cable in there because I don't think it's fully charged. So here, going to the menu, power button. It's a hold down. I'm holding it down maybe 3 seconds and it came on. And coincidentally, the car's already synchronized to this channel. And it's actually a pretty good view. Hold on, let me get this strap out of the way. Right? Get a view of the tools I use around here. So that seems pretty darn good. Alright, so I don't even really have to go through the instructions, but if you want to pause, that is how you would go about doing it. You just search for the channel and it'll search for the best reception. In fact, let's do that anyways. I'm going to hit search. And it found it. Okay, so that's good. Now what I'm curious about is, if I swap these over to my FPV goggles for quadcoptering, these SkyZones. See, a SkyZone has, well, I think I bought these antennae. Quadcopter antennae are meant for, quadcopters flying above you. So I don't think the way these antennas work are really good for just something on the ground. But let's find out, because these are expensive goggles. I'm hoping you can bend that. Yeah, okay. So in theory, those are now, that's screwed in tight. That's pretty much vertical. Let's do the other one over here. And after you tighten that, you can rotate the whole thing. So, okay, so now that should be there. Hook up the battery, and then let's so if you're curious, I actually tried to bind it to both cars, but it won't work. You can't drive both cars simultaneously. You can see they'll steer simultaneously, but the gas will only drive one. Yeah, so only the Skyline is being driven, really, whereas the other one just kind of reacts to some of the button controls. Like if I hit the ambient light, that'll work. If I hit the headlights, they kind of flip between the two. Right, so yeah, you can't drive both at the same time. You'll also notice the Skyline is actually bigger. And the Skyline has no mirrors, but maybe a car that old never had mirrors. And I'm also noticing the sink marks, just like on the Skyline, that little molding sink mark there. It's very unappealing. Okay, well anyways, we've already seen the Skyline driving around. Let's see this van driving around, so let me reset the binding and all that. Alright, so here we are at 70% power. And you'll notice it's very slow. I'm going to do 100%. It's better, but it's okay, but I realize there's a design flaw. So here's the design flaw. Look how close the chin is to the ground. And you see, the suspension isn't strong enough to return the chin. So basically that entire nose is scraping the floor, and that's why it's slow. The suspension isn't strong, and the chin is just too low to begin with. This is a design flaw. This is a poorly designed body. It shouldn't have a chin that low. Or they need to have stronger springs, or have no front suspension at all. So look at the old one, the R27. Look how tall the chin is. And the suspension is doing a better job returning. So this never scrapes the nose. I mean, I guess if you push, even if I'm pushing it down, it's not scraping the floor. So this new plastic body, yeah. So you have to avoid this van. This is a horrible thing. The only saving merit, hopefully, is I can swap out. Maybe I'll order the Z body. I don't know. This bottom might be specific to this van. Alright, back in the photo booth. There's literally like 0.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter travel. How can they? It just amazes me these guys would put this out there. Maybe this is why there's no reviews about this particular body style, or I didn't see many. But if anyone actually recommends this to you, you shouldn't trust that channel. I mean, that's... Anyways, we gotta see what's going on inside this and see if there's a way we could fix it. Or make it better somehow. I think really just locking out the suspension would be the trick. So you can see these two sink marks, and that's the case on the Skyline too. That's just the plastic is cooling at a different rate than the rest of the body. So the back doesn't have that issue, which is nice. I think it's just this one screw in the back here in the middle. I didn't open up that other, the Skyline version. Okay, if you have little screws like that, it might be advisable to have a little magnet around. Otherwise, you're just going to lose them. So, here's okay, so don't just rip it off because you can see these cables there. That's necessary to have the FPV going. I picked up a little cat hair even though I vacuumed. But, alright, so those are hardwired in there. And you can see this clear thing, that's the light bar for the tail lights. And these are the LEDs, there's 3 little rectangles there. Same with the front, we have 2 LEDs, maybe a low beam and a high beam. And there's the light bar right there for that. It's interesting that this actually has like fender wells. Oh, I guess this grill. That's why maybe this grill is a separate piece. I'm not sure. Oh, and also the mirrors might be attached to that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I guess maybe that's also holding the clear headlight light bars in place. Anyways, I'm just gonna leave it. Oh, I'm mistaken. This battery is a 240 milliamp hour. So an 18650 should be able to charge that several times. I can't imagine the radio takes up that much power. Alright, so be careful here, but this is this front suspension. That's the problem. I'm wondering, I bet it would run a lot better without the body on it, right? But I think the body and the camera just way too much for these little springs to do their job properly. So you got to get some stronger springs basically. What I'm seeing though is a screw, which is nice. So I'm going to take this one off. And let's see how big that spring is. I'm wondering if like a ballpoint pen spring might work. Okay, so that just kind of fell out, right? So this little tiny spring is the culprit, and the fact that the body is just really low to the ground. So let me go look for some springs. I'm gonna put down the magnet. I'm gonna lose it. And then, if you're curious, this is what the kingpin, I think it's called, and the axle look like. And yeah, I guess you could pick out hair easier if you take it apart, but I don't even bother. I just flip it over and then have some tweezers and pull out any sort of hair or lint that might get stuck in that axle. Sorry to record any of it. It was so fidgety I didn't even bother, but I took out the springs and I couldn't put them back. You know, you have to compress them a little bit to put them back in. Originally I was thinking I would just add this in there to make the spring rate harder, but I couldn't get this little O-ring. This is a 1x3x1 O-ring, by the way, so it's like 3 across and the hole is a 1. I think it's meant for like lighters, but I use them for the valves. Yeah, the valves on my gas grenades and stuff like that. So there's 2 of these in place of that spring because I couldn't get this and one spring in there. The spring is just maybe if you're more talented than me you can, but with 2 O-rings there's a little bit of a gap there. You can see the suspension, that thing moving up and down a little bit, but it's pretty much locked out. Before, if you press this up, the tire would actually scrape the body, but here I'm pressing it up and it doesn't really scrape anymore because the O-rings are stopping it from going any higher. It still has a really low stance though. Let me get this piece of plastic here. Right, so, but I can't even ever press down. That nose, it really won't go down. Not by normal means, I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't want to bottom out like before. But the odd thing is, when I ran it, it was just as slow. So then I was thinking maybe the tires are a different size, which would effectively change the gearing, but no, they look identical in the overall height, right? So I think the tires are the same as before. So here's the gearbox. It feels pretty loose actually. I didn't loosen it or anything like that. Oh, but look at no, that pinion is spinning. So I thought maybe it was skipping teeth, and there's no lint or anything causing drag in the axles here. Maybe that cat hair's got nothing to do with it. So I think this is just a slow RC. It's not the same as the other one. Nothing seems cracked or over tightened. I guess just the gearing is different. Yes. So you'll see I took these two black plastic things out, the wheel wells, and the light bars are firmly in there. I don't know if they're glued, but they're not coming out easily. That one I have a hard time thinking would go anywhere, so I don't think you actually need these here. So that's a way to save a little weight, and it should make it a tiny bit faster. The only thing you have to be careful of is, the wiring here. You want to twist it up and have it in a way that it doesn't get dragged by the wheel here. So I'm twisting the cable, and then yeah, so you just have 3 screws, just like on the R27, holding that lower thing in place. But you don't need these. Right? The R27 weighs 32 grams. This van thing weighs 28, so it's actually lighter, but with the original parts is 29. It's still lighter. So it should theoretically be faster if the gearing was the same. Okay, so I'm going to set them both to 70%. Let me hit focus there. I'm going to turn the light off on both. Alright, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. Right? The skyline is just way better. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. That's a huge difference in speed. It's crazy. So let's see if this van can get up these ramps. Let's go to 100%. Well, it will go up the ramp. Let's try the big ramp. Okay, so that's reassuring. You gotta tape the ramps down. I think though, I think they wouldn't stay in place if they weren't. 70%. Oh, that was a bad approach. My bad. Well, even at 70%, it'll go up and over. So, I reposition. I think I'll have a better success if I. Oh, that's 70%. Okay, let's see what the skyline does at 70%. Oh, now this is interesting. It won't get up. Let's try the other ramp. Well, that is interesting indeed. I guess I'm going to have to go to 100. Huh. So the van will actually get up there. Maybe the tires are just newer. It's only been like 2 weeks though since I reviewed the skyline. Alright, let's look at some other tuned car comparisons. I was thinking, would this fit like a Hot Wheels body? So the quick delivery blings here by Hot Wheels is wide enough, it looks like. Problem is, the wheelbase is too long, so it's not going to work. I guess I'll just leave that up there. So I have a whole bunch of Chorokyus, and let's see what it looks the most like. This is a Daihatsu Tanto. So the headlights are very similar there, but not the grille. Here's a Toyota BB, the first one, or the Scion XB it was called, I think. And then here's a Suzuki Every, is it? Yeah, it was called an Every. I don't know what generation, but... And then the last one is the Suzuki Alto Works, which has a trapezoidal grille. So that's actually far out. That's far out. I almost feel like it's a mix of these two Suzuki. No, the Daihatsu and the Suzuki. Like the bottom half of the front of this, and then the headlights of that. Alright, let's get a top view here for you. So you can see it's tuned, but it's definitely not in scale with Chorokyu or the Hot Wheels. Well, I guess it can pass with the Hot Wheels blings. But the quick delivery is a big vehicle in real life. You know, it's like a milk delivery van truck. So, by the way, turns out when this is fully charged, the light turns green, so that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get like an adapter cable or something. That's gonna drive me nuts. That's the one fault with well, there's two faults with these goggles. For the first, you know, this board would have been better if it was just on the front, vertical or something. And then second, unless you have a really big nose, you're gonna see the light down here. So, but that's a simple fix. You could just put a piece of foam there or a piece of duct tape or something like that if the light bothers you. So, yeah, that's not much else wrong. I think for the price, though, they're pretty darn good. I mean, they're better than my... These are probably like $50 goggles if you factor in the other stuff, maybe even less. But those SkyZone ones were like $300 or something, if I recall. It's crazy. On a random note, if you want to make a hard case for your RC cars, I just took the packaging this thing came in, and then I have polymorph, which is a plastic you can boil in water and it gets soft. And then once the plastic cools off, it's like structurally strong. So this makes a great case here for this car. I have it where it flexes this thing a little bit, and it'll grab the bumper. Of course, I can't do it now. It's on camera. There we go. And I pushed in the back a little bit, so it grabs the back bumper. So it can't fall out, and nothing's going to hurt that car when I throw it into an RC bag and go somewhere with it. So, yeah. Okay, well, I gotta say, this particular model, the 2011, unless you're giving this to like a child, I wouldn't recommend buying this. You know, I'm not a skilled driver, but I think this is just too slow for me. So sadly, I think I'm gonna have to go and buy another one of these. And now that I know these goggles work better than my drone goggles, I'm gonna have to buy another set of those too. I'm gonna just buy the whole complete setup, I think, with this. Please leave a comment if you have other theories, but I guess it's just the fact that those are metal gears. Assuming they're the same ratio, that is just transferring more power than plastic gears. I don't know. What else could it be, right? This thing is lighter weight. It should be faster. This is heavier. And then it's weird that this is heavier and it had a hard time going up the ramp. It should have more traction being a heavier model. But you clearly saw this thing being slower and lighter go up the ramp. So there's a lot of weird things going on in this little RC world here. Defies physics, defies logic. But anyways, the bodies look really nice. I might have to look online and see about swapping out the body of this. But maybe it doesn't even matter. I guess I'll just keep it, because it's lighter weight than this anyways. So, yeah. If you're going to buy one of these things, or two of them, you look up the R27, the one that looks like this Skyline here, the classic Hakosuka Skyline. It's simply superior as far as speed goes. And for me, that's what matters. I find 70% on this one is good. And then if you have a really nice surface, the 100% is great. And it's really fun. I gotta say, it's you know, quadcopters are fun too, but the air is never ending. You know, the sky doesn't end, so you're not. There aren't any barriers to avoid other than trees and stuff like that. But being on the ground, I felt like I was going so fast in the FPV view of this thing, right? So it's actually more entertaining than I thought it would be. And sadly, I didn't show that in the reviewing this because those drone goggles just don't give a good picture. All right. Well, as usual, I thought this was going to be a nice quick review, but it just turns out to be long because nothing goes right in this world, it seems. It's just sad. Why is the world, you know, with all of its intelligence and advancements in technology, it seemed to just get more annoying? It's because I'm an old man. That's why. Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys. Boy, I don't even know. I don't know if I'm gonna buy that bus after all, because if it's anything like this, it's just gonna be like super slow. Because that bus, I think, has even a longer wheelbase and a bigger body. Of course, it's gonna weigh a lot. But if it has this weak gearing, it's not worth it. I'd rather just have 2 of these R27s. Hopefully, I can find a blue one. Thank you for watching today. Appreciate it. We'll see you in the next RC car related video. Bye. Alright, well, these goggles, they're worth buying because my expensive quadcopter goggles, which cost 3 times as much as this entire set, I think, at least 2 times as much when I bought them, that is, they just don't work, even with the antenna from this set. So yeah, I think it's worth buying these goggles for sure. There's no weird distortion, you know, fuzziness in the picture. Every now and then it flashes, but not for long. And yeah, this is actually feels like I'm going Mach 10, and I'm only at 70% power. So it's crazy, actually. It's really fun. I could definitely see people racing these now. I said it in the first one, the first review. People maybe not racing them because I wasn't really using the FPV goggles. But if you actually have, you know, a pair of these or up to 4, then I think you and your friends could have a lot of fun. The instructions did mention that, you know, each car has to be on a different band. So with only 4 bands, A, B, C, D, you can only have 4 of these things racing at a time. But I think that's pretty fair. I mean, this is not a super expensive RC car set, so. But yeah, you can see clearly the Skyline doesn't have an issue with speed. Alright, you know what, I'm going to experiment and pop it to 100%, but watch me wipe out. It's going to probably spin out. Maybe. Oh, yeah, there it goes. It did spin out. Another thing you should do is if you're running indoors and you have pets is definitely vacuum the floor. I thought maybe that van was so slow because I had pet hair in it, but I went and made sure I picked out any sort of lint, and it's still slow because it's dragging the nose. But this one, you know, it's since I vacuumed this floor, yeah, I'm not having an issue. Alright, I'm not a great RC car driver, as you can tell. Especially this speed is just killer. It's definitely better at 70%. So it's good that it has that lower speed setting. I almost wish it had 3 settings then.